From our Scottsdale studios, this is Retirement News Online. As you approach or enter retirement, risk takes on a whole new meaning. It's no longer just about growing your investments. It's about protecting what you've built, generating income, and avoiding costly mistakes. Now, market volatility, inflation, healthcare costs, and longevity can all threaten your retirement security. So it's essential to work with a financial advisor who can help you navigate risk with a plan built for long-term confidence. And it just so happens we have that advisor here right now. It's Tim Tremblay with Tremblay Financial Services in beautiful Santa Barbara, California. I love your jacket, by the way. Well, understanding risk is really part of your job. I mean, that's a lot of what you do with your clients. So how do you help protect a client's savings from market downturns when they stop working? Because they're usually, before that they're contributing, they're accumulating, and now they're not. They're just living off what they've made. How do you protect them?
Well, it's interesting, Scott. I've been in this business now 42 years. And when I got in the business, it was pretty much stocks and bonds. And there's a lot of risk in the stock market. And you had to look at how you could control that. And they had the 60-40 idea of asset allocation. And that didn't work so well during certain times over the past 42 years. We look at the last decade from 2000 to 2010. If you invested in the S&P 500, 100 grand in 2000, 10 years later, your S&P portfolio would be 80. You're down 20% after 10 years. So you have to look at other ways of protecting a portfolio and planning for a client's retirement needs and a way to help mitigate that risk. And we've developed a Triad Asset Allocation that's done just that.
And we're going to talk about that too. So we have people who are living longer, right? Retirement can be 20 years, 30 years, sometimes 40 years or more. So we have to protect, but at the same time we still have to keep our foot on the gas pedal. Because we have to get growth during that time if we're going to make it through retirement without losing everything and making sure there's something left for your family when you're gone. How do you balance the two?
It's interesting. We'll get into this Triad Asset Allocation that we've developed at Tremblay Financial. And we've had this in place now for the past 25 years, and it's really been the key to the success that we've had because it's done exactly what you're talking about. If you're younger and you have time mitigates risk. And you've got most of your assets in the stock market. And you welcome the downturns because you're going to buy those downturns. And you want to buy low. And for that client, it's going to be a great opportunity. But as you get closer to retirement, you need to mitigate that risk. You need to have more of your money in the safe area. And what we've been using for years now are fixed indexed annuities in that safe category that has an opportunity to give you a whole lot better return than the traditional safe fixed investments. And so using that as a strategy for a client, depending on where they are, if you're closer to retirement, you have to have a lot more safety. If you're young and have many years ahead of you, you're all in the stock market. So it depends on where the client is. It depends on their goals, objectives, their temperament, and so on. But we develop a financial plan using the Triad to fit our client.
And as an independent advisor, so you have access to things that probably aren't well known in the industry, especially by the consumer. Because it sounds like there's some things that you're obviously going to be using equities, but there's some things you need that aren't really stocks, right? So talk about how do you address inflation, healthcare costs. Again, as somebody gets older, if they have the luck of living into their 90s, if you call that luck sometimes, healthcare costs are a big part of that. So how do you balance all that with inflation?
Well, that's another interesting aspect of a financial plan these days. Healthcare is so much more expensive now than it was in the past. And it's continuing to get more and more expensive. Companies are, if you have a long-term care policy, those premiums have continued to increase. If you want to get that long-term care policy now, it's going to be difficult. It's going to cost a lot. So what we're looking at are other ways that we can get that through a life insurance policy. You can have that long-term care coverage through a life insurance policy that will then be affordable. and you can actually use some of your death benefit while you're alive for long-term care. It's so important to really look at what your client's goals and objectives are, and where they fall short with that financial plan. And part of that is health care. There are other issues, inflation, the cost of living. We have to sit down and really put together a budget for retirement to meet the income needs of that client. And each one's going to be different, Scott. So a financial plan for one can be totally inappropriate for another. So we really tailor it for that individual.
You really love what you do, don't you?
I do. People ask me, how long are you going to work? And I tell them, I'm going to die in the saddle. I love what I'm doing. And so, it's a fascinating business. There's never a boring day when you come to work. There's always something happening in the news that's going to affect a financial plan. And so it's a challenge. And I have my family working with me. If I want to see my family, I go to work. My daughter, my son, my grandson, my granddaughter, my wife, we all work together. And the other folks in the office are like family. So I look forward to going into the office. So, I've been blessed.
We all have. Thanks for your time, Tim. He's Tim Tremblay with Tremblay Financial Services in Santa Barbara, California. This is Retirement News Online. Thanks for watching.